And we're in game. So this is the Victorian under-22s mixed team against the ACT under-22s mixed team at under-22 Nationals, Warren Ponds, Deakin University in the south of Victoria. Victoria started on offense, and as you can see, they're working it up well up the field. So we've got Hayley Tam with the disc. Gets her dump out. ACT looked like they had a transition. Gets it out to Graham. Look at a high stall count. He's got to do something, and a stall has been called. So there's a pick called early in that point, but then he called a stall. So looks like it hasn't affected the play, so it's a turnover. ACT get the first turn of the game. Oh, a little bit of confusion. People asking whether there was a pick or whether there wasn't. If there was a pick, did it affect the play? And they've come to the conclusion it is a turnover. So ACT get the first chance at a break. Setting up in a bit of a vertical stack. It's a bit junky. Everyone everywhere. Not a clean stack, but gets a nice swing out. Looking for a dump. Gets it down the line. Swinging it around again and gets the first nice throw down the line. And a big put there. Floating. And the Victorian boys just misread the disc there. They had good front position. Jumped maybe a little bit too late, and it's a big grab from ACT to get the first break of the game. First point, and it's a break. So starting off well here in the bronze medal final of the mixed division at under-22s Nationals.
Yeah, Billy!
And then you threw it.
A lot of excitement down here in Warren Ponds, Deakin University. There's obviously the men's division just played. We had Queensland beating out New South Wales in a very hotly contested game. Went to Universe Point. They managed to win the last point. And the bronze medal match that we were watching was Victoria against WA. WA managing to win on Universe Point as well. So the men's division's over, and they're all crowding around the sidelines watching the bronze and the gold medal match of the mixed division. A lot of spectators as well. A lot of people have travelled down. Being the under-22s division, there's a lot of parents, brothers and sisters, and also coaches for the under-24s campaign, which will be held in Perth in 2018. So a lot of excitement down here. Good atmosphere on the sideline and wonderful weather. Big pull by ACT. Anthony O'Hagan underneath the disc. Sets it to his brother Harry O'Hagan and pops it back for the 1-2. And jacks it deep. And just puts a little bit too much pepper on that. Maybe should have held on for half a second longer to give his receiver a chance to get a little bit deeper. And unfortunately, a turnover. ACT pick up the disc again. And now have another chance at getting second point, second break.
I really want to commentate.
So turnover there. Victoria get another chance on offense. So Rostad sets it to the middle. Anthony O'Hagan puts it down the line to Prendergast. Prendergast to Anne O'Hagan. Back to Rostad. Back to Anne O'Hagan. Down the line to Prendergast. To Harry O'Hagan. Feels like we're calling those boys a lot for Victoria. Controlling the play a lot. Anne O'Hagan bobbles it off his legs. Gets the second grab. And pops it into the end zone for the score. Gabby Cunningham, I think, with the score there for Victoria. So the boys really controlling play as the handlers for Victoria, which is what they've been doing all day. And Anson Chung, the coach of ACT, just signalling they want to play 4 men. So obviously wanting to take advantage. They've got some quite strong men on their team.
So I was saying for the last couple of games, this Victorian mixed team, the Blue Devils, really like using that handler weave, really forcing those handler defenders to be very aware. And now ACT come back out on offense. They've put on, I got one hidden from me. Foreman, Waters. We got Halford Smith, Clink, Dawson, and Bray. So a strong line on offense here. We got Gibbs with a disc. Hand up, ready to go. ACT hand up. Pull goes up, a very nice pull. Speedy roller. Beats everyone. Did she get a touch? It doesn't look like she got a touch, so they'll take it to the front of the end zone here. And Victoria's showing zone. You got Calvin Wicks on the mark there. Not just trying to get Noah around, force him into that corner. Yesterday they struggled a lot when they were forced into that side. Waters gets it right on the cone, throws a lefty, but to the ground rather than to the player. So a turn in the end zone. And Gibbs just slowly walking to the disc here. Taking his time. Just make sure of this. Wicks gives him a shimmy. And that's a score to Victoria. 2-1. Timeout. Called ACT. Victoria's gotten 2 in a row. Just quickly stemming this flow. They've seen that these latter games, it's all about momentum. Arresting this momentum. Taking that time. So timeout, ACT.
So 2-1 to Victoria. Got that. ACT got the first break, and then Victoria scored the next 2 in a row to peg it back. force the timeout called from Anson for the ACT squad, just to try and bring them back in again, fire them up like they were on the first point, keep the spirits up high. It's often one of the toughest jobs for a young squad, for a young team. Try and keep everyone up and about when they're maybe the momentum's just swinging against them. So, yeah, Victoria just doing their last cheer before coming out with a line on.
So this game, they played this game in pool game late yesterday. ACT won that after Victoria were up, I'm pretty sure. And there's it's very hard to beat the same team twice. So Victoria playing with a chip on their shoulder here. Want to make amends for yesterday's loss. And they're going to come out firing for this point. ACT's come out with some of their stronger players, some of the players that we've noted a lot. Get a lot of the discs. We got Suzuki, we got Weo on the field as well. We've got Barron, predominantly going to be sitting back and handling. Sutherland, Farrell, and last two obscured. Jones and we'll get you the 7th one. Grange. Yeah. You're right. And Grange is the 7th player. Zone shown, and they're moving it around, swinging it already. They must have watched our commentary yesterday. We were talking about how they looked very good when they were swinging it. And they're swinging it nice and early here and often.
Yeah, yesterday they seemed to struggle early on in this game. We seem to be playing very deep, playing as a deep receiver. And Suzuki was really the only thrower they had early on in that game. But it looks good here. We has dropped back as a thrower to help out Suzuki. So now they've got two strong short, sharp throwers. And then obviously Farrell is that third handler who also is not fussed by his own at all. So working it up quite well here, ACT. They've just got to make sure they don't get stuck on the sideline. So that swing from Suzuki there, Farrell, is obviously important. Swings it back to him, just as I say it, bobbles it, but manages to regain control. To Caitlin Grange, she pops it back to Weir, back to Farrell, back to Weir, back to Farrell. That little 1-2, Victoria finally stopped it. Back to Weir. They just waited a second there for the cup to move. And then, unfortunate, Jez Barron just sees Suzuki, didn't see Prendergast bursting through the middle and throws it to the opposite team. So Victoria get the disc back and a chance to break here. Jono Pereira jacks it deep. Really good grab there by Hannah Sutherland. And then pops it over the top to Sylvia Wong. So he pops it over the top to Caitlin Lustard. And really, really nice play there by Victoria. Pick it up after the turn, get it moving early, get it moving fast. And ACT just didn't have time to set it.
That day, and they moved it quickly. Didn't give ACT any chance there. That's very nice offense there, very nice flow. Jono Pereira with that big throw onto that open side. Finding Dallywell. And that really does that really made it difficult for ACT, and they scored, so 3-1. After going down the first point. 3-1, 3 in a row.
Yeah, so Victoria just forcing the timeout call by ACT. Another one. So interesting tactic there. Anson obviously called a timeout, had a chat to them, and then now he's called another one. So just want to go through a few things. I did hear in the commentary box position. We're sitting right on the sideline here. All the players are walking straight past us, so we can hear what they're saying. We can hear what the coaches are saying. We can hear what the supporters are saying. It's a really good position. I did hear Anson Chun, the coach of ACT, come over and have a chat to Alice Patterson-Roberts, their experienced player, sort of an import. She actually lives in Tasmania, but plays for ACT. He came over and said to her, he said, "Pato, I want you to throw those hammers over the top. You've got those overthrows." And she said, "Oh, just because in the first point there was one that she looked off and ended up throwing a dump." So yeah, Anson really talking to his experienced throwers like Suzuki and Weir and Pato Roberts to feel free to take a few risks. There's no wind, so obviously Anson said, if you've got an overthrow, throw those hammers. We want them because it breaks up this zone by Victoria that they implemented so well in the first game they played yesterday.
Just really don't want to get trapped on that side. A lot of teams have been using that against ACT, and they've realized that that's one of their weaknesses. But when they're trapped on that side, they find it quite difficult. But if they get those big swings all the way across or hammers over the top, they'll be in fair shape.
Jack Brand just limbering up in front of the commentary box here. Yeah, good glute stretch. He's obviously running a lot in this ACT team when it's either him or we are on the field as that give and go handler. And so having a bit of a spell on the sideline, just trying to limber up and get ready. He knows this is a big game, playing for bronze medal. It's good to see.
I've been told that he was voted best glute of Canberra 2016. Only the right glute, the left glute, unfortunately, did not go to him. And that's just limbering up there for those big, sharp cuts. So we got... I think this looks a bit like the O-line from Victoria that's getting a run out. The D-line's got a couple of breaks in a row. Give them a rest. Whilst for ACT, they've... Weir, Suzuki, Foreman, and Bray. So they put their stronger line on here, trying to just get those swings around, get it moving, break up this cup that we assume that they're going to put up. You see Graham sprinting down, trying to stop as much throws, and it's as called. It's a zone straight away. Big around to Waters, Weir, Waters, Suzuki. We're going to hear a lot of those names. You can set a watch to the amount of times they're going to get the disc. Bray, Weir, and then you just move it out of here. They get the dump, and it looks away. There have been trouble here. But find that inside, Suzuki across to Waters. Weir, Waters. It's getting a bit repetitive, really. Let's give it to someone else. This cup needs to. They need to stop these really quick give and go.
Yeah, Weir and Waters obviously taking control. Swings it back to Suzuki. Back to Suzuki in the middle. She's got Waters there. Swings it out to Waters. Back to Suzuki. Got Weir in there. Back to Waters. Now they've thrown about 30 or 40 throws here. Back to Suzuki, and she's looking for that swing. Not on. She'd dump it back to Waters to reset the stack. Reset the stall count. They've thrown about 40 throws here, and they haven't made much ground on the thing. So Anne O'Hagan comes for that flying deep through to Weir. They really need to look at putting one through the cup. Suzuki to Weir. Weir down the line to Sylvia Wong. Sylvia back to Weir. Stuck on this sideline here. They need to get it off the sideline. Good dump to Suzuki. Swings it around.
So it's a lot of touches for a lot of players, but they're making up. They've probably gotten 20 meters, and now the cup's tiring. The gaps are opening up. And just working up, very patient here.
Yeah, Bill Foreman just doing really good with the give-go, but instead of going sideways, he actually ran forward. So they actually gained about 10 meters there, immediately dumped it back. What they're doing is they're just using their key throwers to get those 5-10 meter passes, really 100% throws, no risk on them, and they're just tiring this Victorian cup out. The cup will get tired, and now Suzuki and Waters just working it through. They're gaining ground on those throws now because the cup is opening up, and this is how you play against a zone. We are to Waters, back to We Are. Travel's being called. It shouldn't be a stoppage. He should just tap this on the disc and play on. It's not a stoppage, so he's tapped it back in now. Through the cup to Waters, and this is where it's opening up. Swings that out to Bill Foreman, back to Waters. Waters got a few throws. He's got to take some risks. Puts it to Suzuki. She dumps it immediately back to Waters. He pops that nice one around to Foreman. Straight through the cup to We Are, and boom, that's how you play against a zone. ACT with incredible patience there. I think there was about 75 throws on that point. None of them, there was one risky one with Anne O'Hagan, but he just couldn't get there, and awesome play to see from an under-22s team. That's a great improvement from what we were watching yesterday.
Great patience. They've taken the commentary to heart. They've realized what they're improved on. That's almost 3 minutes with maybe half a chance for Ant O'Hagan. If that, the beautiful offense just took their time and then just tied them out. Chris Folks, the men's ACT coach, is very happy with that. He's coached a couple of these boys. He really enjoys that give and go. He enjoys that zone offense. I think in ACT, it's the more zone they play against, the better it is. More chance for the showy handler plays. But now,
yeah, they've definitely improved against that zone. We were watching the game, obviously, yesterday, Victoria against ACT, and they were struggling hard with it. New South Wales ACT. They were struggling hard against the New South Wales zone, but now that they've dropped a few players like We Are and Waters and Suzuki back, and obviously Foreman was instrumental there as well, the strength against the zone is a lot better. So looking forward to seeing what Victoria does. Do they play man? Do they play zone against this ACT offense?
So we've just been handed some salt from the Victorian supporters. I don't know why. It might be due to Callum's slightly biased commentary last game. But the pool's gone up from ACT. It's a very nice, I don't know where these pools were yesterday, but they've been nationals level throws here, and it's very nice. Prendergast. Prendergast shoots at the roster. The pecs may be a bit too big. Can't close the hands in time. Just hits him in the chest and on the ground. Farrell with a disc, swings it across to Patterson Robert. Patterson Robert to Farrell. Looking in the middle. And a foul call, just a bit of argy-bargy there on the mark. But it's a very deep stack. At least 20 meters away, but the force got changed on them. They got Evans. Evans looking for a dump. Finds Farrell. Farrell, Patterson, Robert. And a pick called. She wrapped around Farrell.
And now this is an interesting call because technically you can't call a pick against a person with the disc. If you actually read the rules. So what's happening here is Patterson Roberts ran past the player with the disc, Farrell, and the Victorian player has called a pick saying that she got stuck behind, but Farrell was actually the player with the disc. Wasn't a player in play, and a little bit of confusion there with what can and cannot be called a pick. So Victoria with the disc now, Anne O'Hagan, caught it up line, swings it to his brother Harry O'Hagan, who puts it out wide to Ireland, dumps it back to O'Hagan. Great catch there by Elise Boss.
Boss shoots it to Prendergast, but his trailing hook is too fast for that. Just finds that trailing shot. They couldn't hold it in. So we got Farrell, or Farrell, that some people like to call him. Farrell shoots it to Barron. Barron looking for that reset, but there's been a call. There's been a call by Harry O'Hagan, a push-off against the thrower. Still looking for Farrell. Finds a great up the line cut there. Shoots to Weir. Weir's really gotten very good at that catch and shoot to the streaming handler. Farrell. Victoria currently just can't decide on a force, but they still generate another D. Just a bit pressured with the throw there. Wanted to end the point. It's been a while here.
Yeah, Patterson Roberts just squeezing it up the line there. Now Victoria go for the deep. It did land inbound, so it will be taken halfway on the halfway mark instead of from the end zone line, which is lucky for the Victorian team. And Elise Boss screaming that she's forcing sideline. Good talk there and good call for her team because they knew where she was forcing. Now we got Rostad with the disc, and he called everyone off the line, dumps it back to Harry O'Hagan, who puts it high to Hayley Tan, and a bit too much pepper on that, sailed out the back.
After the first number of points was quite smooth. This point's really, defense has stepped it up. Farrell has been working a lot as that handler. Gets it, and Weir just out of very nice kind and shoots it upfield to Barron. Gets at least 15 meters. To Evans. To Patterson Robert. Just needs it easy here. And called in. Farrell with a score.
Farrell with the presence of mind there to jump from out of the end zone, catch in the air and land in. He knew he was close to the line. Patterson Roberts really good with that flick throw on the break side. So it's all tied up here, 3-3. It's been long point, that last one. Good defense from both sides. Pretty good offense. So see if Victoria can score their offense.
Mambo Savage.
Yes. So
Ask because of the line. Mambo.
I have no words. It was a very, very good offense
Watch him burn.
and very good defense. It's just good ultimate all around.
Just the dingo.
Just a bit speechless right now.
A team full of Mambos. Imagine the synergy.
My colleague Victor Pupko's just struggling a little bit. We haven't had much food to eat here. Amazing frisbee so far. We watched the VIC men take on the WA men in an incredibly tight match. Went to Universe Point with WA taking it out 10-9. Apologies for some technical difficulties in the last minute or so. Looks like one of the players tripped over a cord connecting to the camera. So it should be fine. The camera quality should be all good, but it looks like we had a bit of a black screen there. All sorted now. Plugged it all back in, turned it off and on again, and ready to watch some good frisbee. Drop us a comment if you're watching. Share it around. Don't get to see under-22 nationals very often. Obviously, this being the inaugural championship, you won't have seen it before. But you don't get to see this quality of young ultimate players very often. So Victoria getting it moving early. Lots of movement. Back to Cam Gibbs. It looks like they're playing a bit of poachy zone with one man marking all the throwers. But Victoria not very fussed. They're happy to just throw it to the open players and get it moving around a little bit.
So the dump came maybe a bit too late. She was ready to just shoot it up line then, and perhaps should have looked for the bigger round swing. Gets it out wide, but too wide, out of the field, in fact, wide. And now ACT with a disc have a chance to retake the lead.
Yeah, Suzuki just wandering past in front of us. I can tell you, best carves on the ACT team so far, but there's a lot of sunburnt legs and a lot of sunburnt faces out here. It's been cloudy the last 2 days here in Warren Ponds, Deakin University, but the UV rays being down in Melbourne, we don't have an ozone layer, and it is blistering. So Victoria look like they've slapped a little bit better than some of the other teams. ACT's a bit red. And a huge hammer there. Huge hammer there. Lands almost in the commentary box on the sideline. So Victoria get the disc again. About halfway down the field. Cam Gibbs picking it up.
Gibbs taking his time. Sees Kaczynski. Kaczynski quick dish to Jono Pereira. Maybe a bit too quick, just right into his face. It couldn't keep control. Maybe slightly too enthusiastic with that dish. And they try and set it as quick as they can. And we'll chalk that up to pressure defense. Waters just couldn't get his hands to it. And Gibbs once again. We've mentioned the amount of times he's been walking up to pick up the disc, just showing how many times defense is getting the turn here. So Dallowell in the center of the field, looking around. She's looking for Gibbs. Now she just needs to find someone and decides to bullet it into Kelvin Wicks's hip. She's trying to get as much distance on that, and it moved all of 2 meters because her player was right there. But this gives them time to set this now Australian famous Victorian zone.
Yeah, so Canberra trying to move it quickly and early. Foreman picking up the disc. Pops it over the top. They don't have their big thrower line on, so ACT might struggle a little bit with this. Waters got the disc now on the sideline. He's looking for a dump. Just reset it. Back into the end zone. Back to James Bray. Back through the middle of Waters. Back to Bray. And there's not many options. Getting to a high stall count. What's he going to do? He dumps it back to Foreman. Foreman swings it out wide. Nice dump to Waters. Back onto the line to Hannah Sutherland. Back to Waters. Dump back to Foreman. Back to Waters on the line. They haven't really moved very much, but they were doing this last point. They had about 75 throws, and they slowly worked it up. So Waters back to Foreman, and back to Waters again. Back to Foreman. Stuck on this sideline. What are they going to do? Back to Waters just to reset the stall. Really, they've just been going forward and backwards on this sideline. They actually haven't moved at all. The cup doesn't really need to move. It's not tiring out the cup, this style of play. So finally gets a nice big swing to the other side to Foreman. And looks for the throw through the middle. Just too ambitious there. Cam Gibbs saw it coming. Slaps that down. Great defense by Victoria.
Must have heard the slip, slop, slap call. Slaps it down. And now they've got... I've lost track of the amount of times they've had a chance to score this one. But it's at least their third or fourth. Pereira decides to pick up the disc this time. And looks at a big lefty. And a bit too big. Too many Wheaties. A bit too many Wheat Bix that time. And we'll probably see the zone come out again. It's working very well. This calls of our game from the ACT sideline. If their game is to swing it around, it's working. If it's something else, then they really haven't been playing their game. But the shot has gone up. There's two ACT players, but Pereira's there as well. But skied, massive sky by Foreman. Foreman to Dawson, and Dawson just a bit too excited to get that open player and shoots it out the side. Pereira with a quick pickup. Pereira wants his point over quick. To Wicks. Back to Pereira. Pereira to Foreman.
Yeah, it's a bit too ambitious there. Pereira saw Kazitsky over the top and tries to throw it. Foreman, he didn't see though. Big hammer by Waters, back to Foreman. Foreman's now had 2 big skies, and that really is Foreman's point. Not only was he instrumental at the back with Waters early on, handling, probably got like 30 or 40 touches, back and forth, but then finally they decided to jack it, and Foreman had 1 massive sky over Jono Pereira, and then another big sky there, and then had the presence of mind just to put it to an open player. So ACT, after being down 3-1 and now up 4-3, Victoria have got to do something. They've got to probably call a timeout or have a quick chat with their players just to figure out how exactly to stop the ACT offense.
Hey, Phil, could you do me a favour and get a little bit more involved, please, while you're on the field? I just feel as though you're kind of there. I don't even know why. Yeah. They need to fill out the numbers.
Put him on the team, coach. The ACL. Pick him for the team. Did you see
Thank you.
So ACT on defense again. Got We Are, Suzuki. Farrell with the big pull, landing on Rostad's head, setting it to Ann O'Hagan, who puts it to Boss.
Boss looking for that inside to O'Hagan, and O'Hagan decides to give the crowd a show. People should be paying admission for the grab alone. Bearing to Graham. Graham looking for that. And we are out of nowhere. And then Weir decides I'll handle. I'll shoot the 20-meter up line to Barron.
Drops it back to Farrell, gives it to Suzuki. So the experienced players taking control here. Down the line to Weir. Weir's got this throw. Decides to pocket at it. And then looks up line and jacks it straight down the line to Jez Barron. ACT pulling ahead. It's now 5-3. A few mistakes there by Victoria, and ACT just too good.
Aiden Graham that point got a massive under, and all he was looking for was the end zone there. And with that look, we decided none of that, out of my house. And ACT go and work it all the way back, the whole 80 meters, get the score 5-3. We got Ash Evans walking around. We'll try and see if he wants to have to talk to the microphone. He's not happy. The man's not happy. I think it's the socks.
They did just come off a very disappointing loss. Universe point against WA. About 7 turns on the last point, and unfortunately, yeah, the Victorian boys just couldn't stick it out. WA played fantastically and managed to come from behind and take it out.
There's no water on that field.
So timeout called by Victoria. They want to stem the flow. Just going to get a perspective from the ACT men's coach on just how ACT are playing this quite well.
Yeah, look, I think what was good for the ACT was that they pretty much dropped the first point of zone played against them, and then lulled the other team into a false sense of security. So yeah, they like a bit of zone. That's what's winning it for them, I think.
So it's almost a tactical decision. The coaches said, "Listen, I think we'll just give the second team, so probably their defense line, a go on offense." They drop the first one, and then all of a sudden Tippmann thinks, "Oh, this is it. We'll play zone all game." Is that what you think has happened?
Yeah, I think so. Whether it's a conscious effort or not, maybe a bit of subconscious thing there. And then I think they stacked a couple of their offensive lines and managed to just get a bit of pressure on the D line, and then converted that one. It's 5-3 up now.
There you have it. So ACT stacking their offensive line against the zone that Victoria are trying to put on. And as he says that, as Chris Folkes says that and wanders away, this big power line that ACT has been playing with Suzuki, with Waters, with Weir, and James Bray, they've all wandered off the field. So this is Victoria's chance. They need to win this. They're on offense, and it looks like a slightly weaker team at this point from ACT.
Just giving the big players a rest here. They've done a lot of hard yards, a lot of passes, a lot of give and go. It's very nice coaching here from Anson. This is probably got selected currently the mixed U24s coach, and it's showing the coaching has been pristine by the ACT mixed team. Really just forcing Victoria to play into their hands. We've heard they always want the zone, pretend that they may be strong, and then score 4 in the trot.
Yeah, so Tippmann, Wong, and Amy Hempel for Victoria. They really need to do something here. Looks like Tippmann's going through how to set a proper mark on for the zone, so it looks like they're going to be sticking with that zone. Interesting decision. We'll see how it pays off. But they do need to score this one. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult game to win.
So Anto Hagen with disc swings it to the other one, Harry O'Hagan, and once again Harry with that flick laser.
The layout D from Patterson Roberts. She was baiting that throw. She was sitting in the middle. She saw the wing outside. As soon as that inside out throw from Harry O'Hagan went, she took 2 steps, laid out in the middle, and that is why she's on the line. Fantastic lay there by Patterson Roberts. Pick called on this play just to slow it up. Players still haven't realised. Finally it comes to a stop, but I just saw that by Patterson Roberts. I'd be putting her on every single line of defence with that. That was a fantastic effort.
Victoria really need to get this turn here. They've had the opportunities, they just can't retain the distance. Now they need it back. They can't go down 3. And here we Ross that perfectly, just as we talked about.
He got the D and then ran out of the field. He's run straight past the commentary box. Obviously, that was a shorter route than just staying in the field with the angle that he was going on. But a great run through D by Rostad to give Victoria the chance. Anne O'Hagan puts it over the top to his brother. Nice and wide. And it looked like Harry missed it, but Rostad grabbed it. They're just deciding whether that was in the play or out of play. Unfortunately, it wasn't on our sideline, so we can't really tell. But there's no shortage of perspectives there. There is no shortage of perspectives. Anson on the sideline there is giving his version of the play. Don't know if they asked the sideline for their opinion or not. Obviously, sideline not allowed to chip in unless it's asked by the players. But it has been called in, so Victoria's control the disc.
And the Hammer just trying to get it probably to Harry O'Hagan in the swing, but he just turned over and went into the middle of nothing there. So bossing them up. We got Farrell, Patterson, Robert. Very tight. Brand being marked really tightly by Ant there. Foreman throws it around to Farrell. Farrell inside to Wong. And then Wong, don't know what to call that.
I think that was where she was changing her grip from a backhand to a forehand and just let go of the frisbee there. Little bit of a lapse in concentration. Bit unfortunate, but Victoria get the disc back. So Harry O'Hagan puts a nice hammer over to his brother in acres of space. Through the middle to Graham, and that's a cold drop. That's really bad for Victoria. That came at a very bad time. So they'd already broken through the zone. They're throwing it through the middle, and Graham just dropped the frisbee in the middle. Patterson Roberts gets it moving early. Now at Barron, up the line to Farrell. Farrell's looking in the end zone. Another pick called by the stack.
Seems that as it's moving across to this side, the commentary side, all 14 players are just moving across. Pick calls, but it doesn't matter. They tap it back in. Patterson Robert with another score. And they just seem to make it just looks a lot easier for ACT now. Victoria, they come and they go hot and cold. They need a switch on here.
Yeah, Victoria definitely a momentum team. They've just taken their foot off the pedal at the moment, and ACT really firing. So Victoria got to fire themselves up, got to score the next offensive point, and then start working on getting some breaks. ACT once again putting a very strong throwing line on. We've got Suzuki back on. Weir is back on the field. James Bray's been taken off, and Jez Barron's been put on, but very strong team. And a good chance at taking this. Daniel Klink, I've just had some interesting knowledge. Daniel Klink from ACT, obviously struggling a little bit in this game. He has had a quick chat to some of his teammates, and it looks like he's made a decision. He said in his head, he had one cold drop earlier on in the game, but he's decided that's it. Second half, watch out for Daniel Klink. He's going to have a sick layout D, he's already told me. So obviously talking himself up, and let's see if he can actually pull through for that. A lot of guys at ACT, if you're watching at home in Canberra or surrounds, drop us a comment on YouTube. Drop us a comment on who has the best calves on the ACT team and whether or not you think Daniel Klink can get a layout D.
Daniel Klink was just standing here telling me he's the best player in Canberra. He says she's going to do really well next time.
After that debacle of commentary, we're back in the game. ACT with the pull. Floating towards Harry O'Hagan. Middles it to his brother. Back to O'Hagan. And we're just there's a lot of chatter from ACT. It's a lot of chatter from the sideline of ACT. They're very happy with themselves, but Victoria's currently working it very well, moving it around. Pereira through the middle to Ant O'Hagan. Back to Pereira, back to O'Hagan. To Harry O'Hagan, to Pereira, into the middle to Cunningham, to Pereira, to O'Hagan 2.0, to Cunningham, and they're halfway. Pereira flips it over the top. Oh, she jumped, she got it, and then landed out. She just wasn't looking. She was looking at the disc. She wasn't looking at the line there. And Lily Baring, unluckily, jumps out.
Yeah, really good movement there by Victoria. Jono Pereira a little bit ambitious and put that one a little bit too high, made it pretty hard for Lily Baring. Suzuki picks up the disc for ACT. Normally so strong, Suzuki. She normally is the sort of the rock of the ACT offense, but goes for a big huck and never came in. So Victoria actually making some ground on that, and Anthony O'Hagan's going to be picking it up about 20 metres out from the end zone, right on the commentary box sideline. Pops it over the top to the middle to Cunningham. To Jono Pereira. Over to Harry O'Hagan. Over to his brother Anne O'Hagan. So they've swung it the whole field of the whole width of the field and gone backwards 20 metres. Squeezed it through the cup. Suzuki got a hand on it. Jono Pereira managed to save the day. Victoria just losing ground here, so need to keep that movement, need to keep those throws forward and through the cup as opposed to dumping it backwards. Cunningham says she had hands on it. Patterson Roberts took it out of her, so gives it back. Harry O'Hagan to Anne O'Hagan, stuck on this sideline. Does he put the hammer up? No, he goes straight down the line, squeezing it in. Unfortunately for Monica Ireland, she had to try and toe the line, and Weir just came running through. Nice, easy D.
Emphatic D. Not in his house, he says, with that slap. And then Suzuki, here we go. She's got to try again on this sideline. She's looking inbounds this time. And just the commentator's curse. The moment she swings it, we got David Evans decides, you know what? I reckon the ground hasn't had enough disc today. We'll put it down. So it's Victoria right on that end zone. And O'Hagan with the disc just pops it to Pereira, and Pereira smacks it. That's it. There's a dent in the ground now after that. That's got some velocity on that.
Yeah, emphatic spike there by Jono Pereira. He was getting a bit frustrated in that point. Victoria working it up the field and then turning it over with some silly throws. ISO play on the end zone line. Anne O'Hagan said, Jono, get open. I'm going to give it to you. Jono catches it and spikes that one down. He's happy for that point to be over. So Victoria 6-4, down by 2. Finally, they've stopped that big run from ACT. Now they've got a chance. They've got to put a defensive line on. They've got to start looking, getting a break now.
We'll try and see if we can get Suzuki to come in to talk about that backhand. So we got number 77, Maya Suzuki, coming in, and we just have a question about what were you thinking about that backhand? What was going through your mind there?
I hadn't quite done all the calculations necessary to complete that.
Oh, the calculations were off. Just didn't get the angles right.
There you have it. It was one of those throws that as soon as it comes out of your hand, you go, oh, bugger. Suzuki, obviously, just a little bit of concentration error there. She has been the rock of ACT all tournament, sitting there at the back. Whenever there's a zone on, she is the main handler, swinging it sideways, popping it over the top. And, yeah, just a error in judgment, a little bit of lack of concentration, and a throw that just went directly out of bounds and had no chance of coming in.
Maybe perhaps that was a bit of game theory there. As folks who talked about, maybe she just wanted to play a bit more defense. And we've been told that the viewers got a special replay just to see it again, to relive that moment. That's now on YouTube forever. So a nice pull there by Victoria, and that's rolled all the way, and it's been touched. It's been called a touch.
Yeah, so Waters just touched that as it went through, and it's rolled out the back of the end zone. So Waters has to pick it up on the end zone line, the back of the end zone line. So Victoria really should press here, put the pressure on. No, it looks like he said, no, I didn't touch it. All right, so he gets to take it from the front of the end zone, but still a wonderful pull. Victoria's already set up. Got two people streaming deep. Waters just looking for a short under, but no, he puts it up. He puts it up. Bill Foreman streaming. There was two girls there, but Foreman got there. Should have caught it. He had two hands on the disc and just fumbled it. Waters was not happy with that effort from Foreman.
Gibbs with disc to start it off. Throws a big inside to Delaware, but just too many push-ups, too much time at the gym, just couldn't close those hands. And the disc is once again on the ground. And we got Waters just casually strolling all the time in the world. Wicks ready. Waters of Engham puts it back up. And Pereira just padding his stats a bit there. With another D, another nice D.
Yeah, Pereira saw one of the ACT ladies streaming deep and saw Waters with the big eyes. He thought, oh, I'm going to put it. So Jono saw that, streamed off his man, poaching in their lane, and just got an easy run through D. That's the interesting thing about mixed ultimate. Some of the men can poach off for some of those deep options. And on the other hand, sometimes the women can be looked off. The men look at them and say, well, they're not going to throw to them. And then you can get some really good scores using your women. So another turn here. ACT just gaining ground from the Ds. Picks it up. Tosses it into the end zone. Easy as can be. Patterson Roberts happy with that. Looks like a pick has been called. So everyone's got to run back off the line while the discussion goes on.
So there's a call on the field. There was a loud sneeze from somewhere in the crowd. Picked up on the mic maybe. So we got Patterson Robert with the disc on that sideline. She throws exactly the same throw she threw. Same player, same result. Same super contribution.
And that's a score. 7-4. ACT in the lead. Approximately 10 minutes on the clock. So if ACT score this one, we'll take half, and then half will bleed 5 minutes of that time. If Victoria score this, they get a few more chances. So it actually, there is a possibility that there won't be half if Victoria score the next couple. But really, for Victoria to win, they need to get a few breaks pretty quickly.
So Coach Tipman Wong marshalling his troops, giving very exact instructions. He knows what he wants. He's been training them for weeks now. And when it works, it looks the Victorian offense looks very, very good. That short, sharp movement with a quick recess to the handlers, it's very difficult to stop. They just seem to be struggling to generate any sort of forward movement. They're being forced to the side and backwards, and just if they stack up the pressure, they just end up throwing just throws that they probably wouldn't throw otherwise. ACT coming out with it seems to be their offense line is having a crack on defense. Suzuki, Weir, Barron, Evans, Grange, and Jones with Farrell. So that's a very strong defensive line. It's more or less the same offensive line for Victoria. And O'Hagan fields it, centers it quickly to Cunningham, ban to O'Hagan. O'Hagan looking for his dump, gets that dish to Boss. Boss now looks upfield to Graham. Graham instantaneously dumps it back to Cunningham. And that's a shot to Prendergast. Meters of space now, it just needs patience. Graham cuts across. Boss now surveying the field. 5 meters from the end zone line. And then throws a big blade. Graham tries to make a bid, but just a bit too far.
Really not a great throw from one of the experienced players on Victoria, Elise Boss. She had a few other options, did have a dump waiting for her that she did not engage, and then tries to throw that. Even if she threw just a flat flick, it would have been a better option. It would have sat a little bit. ACT jacket deep. Rothstad was there. We are just in a bit of a bad position. But yeah, Elise Boss really shouldn't have turned that one over. Foul called on the throw, so ACT get it back.
So that was a different look from ACT. They had 2 of their main cutters and handlers, Weir and Suzuki, both streaming deep at the same time, perhaps cutting each other off, bringing more defenders. We'll see if there's something different done now with Farrell on the disc. He's being forced towards the side, so he has that open throw.
Yeah, so they're just having a discussion, contested or uncontested, and Farrell just got the disc there.
It's quite a long discussion here. Suzuki thought disc was in as they were talking to us. A violation, instantaneous violation call. Her trajectory just been off today. Disc is about to come back in, hopefully. And disc is in. Farrell calling a play at the cut-off line so he can get that big swing across to Barron. Barron further to Grange. Grange to Suzuki. Suzuki to Weir. And got a player streaking deep. Looked up, floated out in front of Barron. Now Barron just needs to settle this. Shoots up line to Farrell. Farrell swings it to Evans. Evans inside to Weir. Weir to Barron. And Barron pops it over the top. But it seems to be a ground strip there. Just didn't have enough flow. And Evans just couldn't put his hand underneath it. Or he put it underneath it, but then the ground decided to knock it back out. So O'Hagan with disc on the corner. He needs someone to get open for him. But then he high stall, how to just get it out of there. Fire with strikes up line. And then there's been another call. Farrell looking weird, just beats. There was a mismatch there. There was a girl marked up on Weir, and Weir just burns her up line, and that's half 8-4.
ACT in a very strong position here. Can't see Victoria coming back from that. Time cap's probably going to be going sometime during this half time. So finish the point, add 1. It'll probably be a game to 9 if Victoria win, and game to 10 if ACT win the next point. But I cannot see Victoria coming back from this unless they do something radical.
we've just got some expert analysis from our in-house statistician, Stephen Ball, and we've been told that if Victoria wants to win this game, they need to score more points this half. At least 5, he says, but he's not 100% on that.
Hold on, Victor. So what you're saying, and what Stephen Ball's, our in-house statistician, has said is that Victoria need to score 5 or more points to win.
Not only 5 or more, they need ACT to score less than them. This is revolutionary statistics. No one else is using these numbers.
And he's also said that there's about a 70% chance that Victoria will not score more points than ACT. So that's interesting. The prediction has been put out there. ACT has got 70% chance of winning this game. Victoria, 30% chance. I was going to say it was more like 90% chance and 10% chance, but obviously the stats talk. They've been watching all of the games, throwaways, Ds, everything. So that's interesting. Comment on the YouTube video below. Comment if you, or who you're going for, who you think's going to win. There's about 5 minutes left before time cap, so not many points left in the game. The hooter has sounded. Time cap has gone in this mixed under-22s bronze medal match being played at Deakin University in Warren Ponds, just near Geelong. So currently it's 8-4. ACT is up by 4 points. Starting on offense, it would seem, after half-time. Finish the point add 1 to the score and play to that. So if ACT score, it would be a game to 10. If Victoria score, it would be a game to 9. And you never say that it's over in Frisbee, but I think ACT has won this.
It's not over until Adam Bullman sings. And as I'm looking, he ain't singing right now. He's on the computer, so I guess we're still playing Frisbee.
The ACT team just standing right in front of the commentary box here. Can't see the play, but we have checked the statistician. Klink still hasn't had a layout D. He's very red, along with a lot of the ACT team. They look like lobsters. They obviously haven't been slapping and heeding the sunscreen warnings that have been going around. ACT on offense, ready to score this game.
Waters with a shot through the middle, all the way to Grange. Grange to Bray. We haven't been calling Bray's name all that much, but we'll see if he stands up tall in the second half. All the way around to Waters. And they're working it quite well. This zone just needs to close up. They're giving too many gaps here. There's just too many gaps. It's Swiss cheese out there.
Yeah, it looks like a Jarlsberg, a wedge of Jarlsberg, and James Bray puts it down the line to Foreman, and Foreman crossfield. Crossfield to Sylvia Wong in the end zone. Pretty solid offense there. It's a game to 10. ACT are up 9-4. I don't know what to do. If I was Tippmann, I'd just be... So the Victorian coach just not paying attention to the scoreboard. Didn't know whether that's game or whether it's game to 10 or whether it's game to 11. He has figured that out now, so now we can go on and call a line. I'd be calling the strongest line possible. Every single person with experience, put them on this line.
Yeah. ACT's calling a very, very strong line, probably one of their strongest lines, and Tippy is marginally short. They need one final push. They have 6 points to make up. Then it's 6 final pushes. But if there's a time to start, it'll be now, because there's no more time left. This is the last chance for the tournament.
Anson Chun, coach of ACT, on the line, calling matchups. They're playing hard man defense against a Victorian offensive line. Possibly the last point, depending on if Victoria can show a little bit of a spark here, then they might be able to punch this one in. Tippmann opting to stay with the same lines that he had drawn up before the game, instead of calling a power line. So Antoine O'Hagan and Cameron Gibbs, probably 2 of their most experienced throwers, on the sideline for this point, which could be the last point. And the throwers, we've got You've got Elise Boss putting it to Wicks, dumping it back to Harry O'Hagan. Harry O'Hagan with the disc at the moment. He's called I have a feeling he called disc space, and then Wicks didn't drop it down, and then he called a violation. So, oh, sorry, we are. So it's going back to 0. Harry O'Hagan there showing just a little bit of experience, just a bit chill, not really hurrying or stressed about the disc at all. Back on 0, got 10 seconds. So he pops it out nice and wide, and a good chase down there. Really good chase down there by Cunningham, but she just couldn't reach down at her ankles and get it. Wicks is on the mark now. Owen Farrell, putting it out wide to Sylvia Wong. Sylvia Wong to Suzuki. Suzuki down the line to Wicks, or to Weir. 5 meters out of the end zone on the last point. He pops it out a little bit too high, and there's a layout from the sideline. And that's the score. ACT have called it up. One of the Victorian players has called it down. There's a little bit of a discussion, almost an anticlimax here. But it was a fantastic read. It wasn't the thrower that it was meant to go to, but luckily it stayed up in the breeze just for that 1-2 extra seconds. Awesome layout by Canberra, and it's being called a goal, as it should with that effort. So Canberra, ACT win 10-4 over Victoria in the mixed bronze medal match.
Are you proud? Are you proud?